I want you to turn to the person next to you. I want you to look him in the eye and introduce yourself as a genius. Let's begin. Now, geniuses, so happy to be with you this evening. I have a few questions for you before we begin. How many people in this audience actually believe in the idea that the way you think has some effect on your life? That your thoughts create your life? You believe that, yes? So how many people here actually woke up this morning and consciously created a future? You know, the biggest reason why people don't do it is because you don't really believe it's true. You see, if you knew on a gut level that it was absolutely true, would you ever miss a day? Come on. And would you ever let any thought slip by your awareness that you didn't want to experience? So your brain, according to neuroscience, is organized to reflect everything you know in your life. Your brain is a record of your environment. It's a record, an artifact of your past. So if you believe this, then does your environment control your thinking, or does your thinking control your environment? So if you wake up in the morning and you get out of bed on the same exact side as you did the day before, you shut the alarm clock off with the same finger, you slip into your favorite slippers, you shuffle into the bathroom and you use the toilet like you always do, then you walk over to the mirror and you look at yourself to remember who you are, then you get into the shower and you wash yourself in the same routine way, then you groom yourself to look like everybody expects you to look, then you go downstairs and you drink coffee out of your favorite mug. Then you drive to work the same way as you did the day before. You see the same people that push the same emotional buttons. You do the exact thing that you know how to do and you memorize and can do so well that you're an expert at. Then you hurry up and rush home so you can hurry up and check your emails, so you could hurry up and go to bed, so you can hurry up and do it all over again. Now, here's my question. Did your brain change at all that day? We could say that you were thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, that create the same experiences, that produce the same emotions, but secretly expecting something to change in your life. Would you agree? Yes. So then, as the environment turns on different circuits in your brain, you begin to think equal to your environment. As you see the same people and go to the same places and do the same things at the same time, it's the external environment that's turning on different circuits in your brain, causing you to think equal to everything that you know. And as long as you think equal to everything that's familiar and known to you, what do you keep creating more of? Same life. Now, the quantum law is still applying to you. You're just thinking equal to everything that you know, and you keep creating more of the same. To change, to truly change, is to think greater than your environment. And every great person in history knew this, whether it was William Wallace or Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King or Queen Elizabeth I or Joan of Arc. They all had a vision. They all had an idea. Couldn't see it, couldn't smell it, couldn't taste it, couldn't feel it, but it was alive in their mind. It was so alive in their mind that they began to live as if that reality was actually happening now. So can you believe in a future that you can't see or experience with your senses yet, but you've thought about enough times in your mind that your brain is literally changed to look like the event has already happened? Neuroscience says it's absolutely possible. Now, your personality creates your personal reality. That's it. It's that simple. And your personality is made up of how you think, how you act, and how you feel. So the present personality who's sitting here today, you, has created the present personal reality called your life. Would you agree? Would you also agree then, if you wanted to create a new personal reality, that on a fundamental level you would have to change the thoughts that you are thinking, the behaviors and habits that you're demonstrating, and the emotions that you've memorized that's become part of your identity? And most people try to create a new personal reality as the same personality, and it never works. We have to become somebody else. So then, as you keep thinking the same thoughts, performing the same actions, and living by the same experiences that produce the same emotions, there's a principle in neuroscience that says nerve cells that fire together wire together. And if you keep repeating the same states of mind and body over and over again, your brain begins to fire in the same sequences, in the same patterns and same combinations. And whenever you make your brain work in a certain way, that's called mind. Mind is the brain in action. So as you remind yourself every day who you think you are, you're causing your brain to fire in the exact same ways. And as they fire and wire in the same patterns over time, the brain moves into a very finite signature, and that's called your personality. Now, that box in your brain isn't literally a box, but it's the most commonly wired, neurologically fired programs that run redundantly because we keep doing the same things over and over again. To change your mind, then, is to make the brain work in new sequences and new patterns and new combinations, to begin to make the brain work differently. And the one ingredient that allows us to do that is knowledge or information, because every time you learn something new, you make a new connection in your brain. That's what learning is. Learning is forging new connections. Remembering is maintaining or sustaining those connections. So now, every time you have a thought, you make a chemical. And if you have a great thought, or an unlimited thought, or a joyful thought, you turn on a set of circuits in your brain that fires in a very specific sequence, pattern, and combination, that produces a level of mind, that turns on another part of the brain that makes a chemical for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking, great or unlimited or joyful. Now, if you have a negative thought or an unhappy thought or a self-depreciating thought, you turn on a different set of circuits and a different combination, a different sequence, and a different pattern that produces a different level of mind. And the brain then begins to make a different batch of chemicals that signals the body for you to begin to feel exactly the way you were just thinking, negative or unhappy or unworthy. So the moment you begin to feel the way you think, because the brain is in constant communication with your body, you begin to think the way you feel, which makes more chemicals for you to feel the way you think, and then you think the way you feel, and then you feel the way you think, and then you think the way you feel. And some people do this for 20 or 30 or 40 years. Now, the redundancy of that cycle over time creates what I call a state of being. And a state of being is when your mind and body are working together, or your thoughts and feelings are aligned to a concept. So thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. And as people get caught in this cycle of thinking and feeling and feeling and thinking, over time, they condition their body to memorize that emotion as well as the conscious mind. And whenever the body knows as well as the mind, that's called a habit. A habit is when your body is the mind. Now, 95% of who you are by the time you're 35 years old is a set of memorized behaviors, a set of emotional reactions, beliefs, perceptions, attitudes that run just like a computer program. So 5% of your conscious mind begins to work against 95% of what you've memorized. So the person wants to think positively, but they're feeling negatively. They want to create their dream board, and put up their future life, but they feel unworthy. That's mind and body in opposition. We have to recondition the body to a new mind. So how many people here know someone who's memorized suffering? Doesn't have to be you, it could be anybody. And you say to that person, hey, did you read the book I gave you? What do they say? No. Did you see the DVD I gave you? Oh, no. Hey, listen, we're going to go out to dinner. We're going to go see some stand-up comedy. We're going to go for a walk along the water. You want to come? No. What are they saying? I'm insisting on this narrow chemical order that no person, no thing, no experience can move us from it. And we have these three brains to allow us to move into a new state of being. And the quantum field, universal mind, whatever you want to call it, responds to who you're being. Not what you're thinking, not what you're feeling, but the combination of how you're thinking and how you're feeling, called a state of being. Now, most people wait for what? Crisis or trauma or disease or loss or diagnosis to really want to change. They wait to the point where the ego is brought to such a low level that they cannot go on business as usual any longer. That's when we begin to look at how we're thinking or what we believe or how we act or our attitude or what emotions we're living by. And my message is, why wait? We can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, which tends to be the human model, or we can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. Now, you want to learn the hardest part about all of this? You ready? The hardest part of all of this, the hardest part of all of this is making the time to do it. That's it. That's it. Making time for your precious self. To truly surrender to the outcome is to engage in one of life's most profound paradoxes. The more you release your grip on the quest for a specific result, the more the universe conspires to align the result with your highest good. This surrender is not an act of defeat. Rather, it is an empowering admission that there is a flow to the cosmos, a tide of possibilities that, when ridden with trust and presence, can take you to shores of opportunity far beyond your imagination. In the first leg of our journey, we must dismantle the belief systems that have taught us that control is synonymous with power. The illusion that we must rigidly direct the course of our lives is not only exhausting but counterproductive. Surrendering to the outcome means releasing the stranglehold that our ego often has on reality, and instead stepping into a dance with the cosmos where we lead, but are also willing to follow. Consider the metaphor of the acorn. Within it lies the blueprint of the mighty oak tree. It does not need to strive to figure out how to manifest its destiny. Similarly, within you lies a potential that is natural, intrinsic, and waiting to unfold. But just as the acorn must relinquish itself to the soil, to the rain, and to the sun, so must you surrender to the elements of the divine timing and the universal current that will carry you from the seat of potential to the fullness of your realization. To deepen our understanding of surrender, we must practice it in both our meditation and our daily lives. In meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts and feelings without attachment, allowing them to pass through our awareness like clouds across the sky. We witness the future we desire with a strong intention, yet without clinging to how or when it will manifest. We attune ourselves to the feelings of having what we want while detaching from the outcome. This delicate balance is the essence of true surrender. Outside of meditation, we must learn to apply this same principle to our daily experiences. It means doing our best in every task we undertake, but not getting lost in worries about the results. It requires us to act without the heavy burden of needing to predict and control the future, instead trusting in the unseen work of the universe on our behalf. Furthermore, surrender also implies a deep trust in oneself. It is about listening to and honoring the intuition that often speaks in whispers, guiding us toward our highest good. It involves the faith that you are capable, that you are being guided, and that the lessons you need will present themselves along the way. But trust is not cultivated overnight. It is the result of continuously choosing faith over fear, especially when circumstances challenge us. Each time you opt for trust, you reinforce the belief in your own capacity to manifest your destiny. And in doing so, you give yourself over to a flow that is more powerful, more intelligent, and more benevolent than any force you could muster alone. Embracing surrender does not mean you abdicate responsibility for your life. On the contrary, you become
more acutely responsible for the energy you emit and the consciousness you bring to each moment. Surrender is about aligning your personal frequency with the frequency of the reality you wish to create. It is a dance of co creation, where your free will meets the divine will, and together they birth a reality that is a reflection of your highest self. Embracing the unknown is not merely a philosophical or spiritual practice. It is a radical act of courage and a fundamental shift in the way we perceive our lives and the universe at large. The unknown is often associated with uncertainty, unpredictability, and potential chaos, but it is also the fertile ground from which all creation springs forth. It is the canvas of potential upon which we can project the masterpiece of the life we wish to manifest. The familiar patterns of our lives, the routines we adhere to, and the predictability we often cling to offer a semblance of security. Yet, in truth, they are the very barriers that keep us from experiencing the fullness of our potential. The known is comfortable, but it is also limiting. It is defined by past experiences, and as such, it can only repeat what has already been, never what could be. Stepping into the unknown requires a conscious release of these past experiences, along with the associated emotions and thoughts that keep us tethered to a predictable future. This means observing our habitual reactions, our automatic responses, and the decisions we make that are simply echoes of our past. When faced with a new opportunity or challenge, the unknown invites us to respond from a place of present awareness rather than from the pre programmed patterns of our subconscious. This journey into the unknown is not without its discomforts. There is an inherent vulnerability in stepping beyond the boundaries of our understanding and control. It is akin to navigating a dark room with only the sense of touch to guide us, the temptation to revert to the familiar, to turn on a light and see the room as we've always seen it, is strong. But it is in the darkness that we develop our other senses. It is here that we learn to see with the eyes of intuition and to walk by faith, not by sight. To stay the course in the face of discomfort is to forge a new relationship with the unknown. It requires us to maintain a state of presence, to consciously breathe through the moments of uncertainty, and to trust that each step we take is leading us towards growth. It is the practice of being comfortable with discomfort, recognizing that the sensation of discomfort is often a sign of impending growth, much like the muscle that aches as it becomes stronger. In practical terms, embracing the unknown can be as simple as trying something new, changing a routine, or making a decision without guarantee of the outcome. It can be as profound as a shift in career, a move to a new city, or the beginning of a new relationship. Regardless of the scale, the principle remains the same: to willingly suspend the need for certainty, to rest in the space between the no longer and the not yet, and to open ourselves up to the myriad possibilities that reside there. The unknown is not a void of nothingness, it is brimming with potential. Like the quantum field of all possibilities that I often speak of, it contains every possible reality waiting to be collapsed into existence by our conscious attention and intention. To embrace the unknown is to become an active participant in the unfolding of your destiny, to move from being a passive observer of life to a dynamic creator. As we dive deeper into the unknown, we begin to understand that it is not a place to fear, but a space to be revered. It is the birthplace of all innovation, creativity, and inspiration. It is where we meet the version of ourselves that is not confined by the past or the limitations of our previous self identity. In this space, we are free to imagine, to dream, and to create with the full power of our conscious awareness. The unknown is the realm of pure potentiality, and when we enter it with a heart full of intention and a mind open to all possibilities, we set the stage for miracles to occur. With each encounter with the unknown, we are invited to expand, to evolve, and to experience the true magic of creation. So let us step forward with boldness, with eagerness, and with the joyful anticipation of all the wonders that await us in the great expanse of the unknown. In the realm of transformation, the concept of brain and heart coherence is not merely a metaphorical state, but a measurable and achievable condition of harmony between our emotional states and our cognitive processes. To attain and maintain this state of coherence, especially in the face of adversity or challenge, is to master one of the most powerful tools at our disposal for creating a desired reality. At the core of brain and heart coherence is the understanding that our thoughts, the language of the brain, and our emotions, the language of the body, must align and resonate at a frequency that is conducive to our overall health and to the manifestation of our intentions. When we think thoughts that bring feelings of joy, gratitude, and love, our heart emits an electromagnetic field that is harmonious and expansive. Conversely, when we indulge in negative or self defeating thoughts, the field becomes dissonant and constricted. Learning to maintain coherence under duress is akin to the training of an athlete. Just as an athlete conditions their body to perform optimally under the stress of competition, we must train our minds and hearts to maintain coherence when circumstances are less than ideal. This training is not a one time event, but a continuous practice, a way of life that weaves the fabric of a new reality thread by thread. One effective method to cultivate this coherence is through focused meditation practices, where we deliberately generate heart centered emotions while simultaneously fostering a clear and present state of mind. These practices often involve visualizing a desired outcome with such intensity that the body believes it is already experiencing that reality, thereby producing the emotions congruent with that state. As we repeatedly engage in this process, we lay down new neural pathways, teaching the body to embody the future we desire in the present moment. Another aspect of maintaining coherence is the management of our internal and external environments. Internally, this involves becoming acutely aware of our self talk, the narratives we construct about who we are and what we are capable of achieving. Externally, it can mean curating our social interactions, the media we consume, and even the physical environments we inhabit to support a coherent state. This doesn't imply creating a bubble that shields us from reality, but rather constructing a life that reinforces our capacity to thrive within it. In challenging circumstances, maintaining coherence is our superpower. When the world around us seems to be in chaos, our internal state of harmony becomes a beacon, not only guiding us through the turmoil, but also influencing the environment and people around us. Through the resonance principle, we can become a center of peace and stability, affecting others in subtle yet profound ways. The mastery of brain and heart coherence is a journey of deep self discovery. It involves peeling away the layers of conditioned responses and getting to the core of our authentic self. It asks us to let go of who we think we are, to become who we truly are. This process can be unsettling, as it may involve the dissolution of long held beliefs and the identity constructed around them. Yet, it is in this dissolution that we find freedom, the freedom to choose thoughts and emotions that serve us and our greater purpose. As we delve further into the art of coherence, we begin to appreciate that it is not just about personal well being, but also about contributing to the collective consciousness. Every individual who achieves a state of coherence adds to the global field, uplifting humanity and aiding in the creation of a world that reflects our highest ideals. Through persistent practice, patience, and deep seated belief in the process, we learn to tune our beings to the symphony of the universe. In this attuned state, we not only attract experiences that match our vibrational frequency, but also participate in the grand orchestration of life where each of us plays a crucial part. Thus, the journey of coherence is one of individual transformation that echoes into the collective, shaping the world one heart, one mind, one intention at a time. To understand the intricate connection between our inner transformations and the manifestations in our external reality, we must delve deeply into the relationship between personality and personal reality. It is the profound realization that who we are being on a day to day basis, our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions, which together form our personality, is directly creating the life we experience, our personal reality. Our personality is not fixed. It is a dynamic interplay of habits, beliefs, and emotional patterns that have been learned and reinforced over time. These aspects of ourselves become so ingrained that they operate subconsciously, dictating our reactions and choices, and consequently, shaping the narrative of our lives. When we begin to make changes within, when we change our thoughts, the images we hold in our minds, the feelings we cultivate in our hearts, and the behaviors we perform, we start to alter our personal energy field. It is this field that interacts with the larger universal field of potentialities, attracting circumstances and events that resonate with our new vibrational signature. Expanding this concept requires us to recognize the deep seated subconscious programs that have historically run our lives and to consciously decide to rewrite them. This process of rewiring our brain and reconditioning our body to a new mind involves disciplined practice and a willingness to step out of the familiar grooves of our old identity. Moreover, it is about consistently aligning our choices with our new intentions. This alignment is not a one time event, but an ongoing practice. It is waking up each day and choosing thoughts and behaviors that are congruent with our future vision, rather than repeating those of our past. It is about catching ourselves when we fall into old patterns and gently but firmly guiding ourselves back to the path we have chosen. We must also understand that as we evolve our personal reality may not shift instantaneously. There is a natural lag time in the physical world, a period of gestation during which our consistent new thoughts and feelings are coalescing into form. During this time, it is essential to cultivate a sense of trust and patience, to remain committed to the inner work even when the outer world has yet to catch up. This is where many falter, reverting to old patterns because the evidence of change is not immediately apparent. One of the keys to overcoming this challenge is to cultivate a profound state of gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. It is an acknowledgement that what we have intended is already ours on some level of reality. When we live in gratitude, we affirm that the universe is conspiring on our behalf, that the changes we are making inwardly are recognized and being mirrored back to us, even if they are not yet visible to the naked eye. It is also vital to embrace the process itself, to find joy in the act of becoming rather than being fixated on the end result. Every moment of self awareness, every conscious breath, every choice made in the direction of our new self is a triumph. It is in these moments that we are no longer victims of our lives, but conscious creators, actively participating in the unfolding of our destinies. Lastly, we need to recognize that the transformation of our personality into our personal reality is not a solitary journey. We are interconnected with a web of consciousness that encompasses all living beings. As we change ourselves, we contribute to the collective change, influencing the field in subtle yet significant ways. Our personal evolution can inspire and catalyze the transformation of others, just as we can be inspired by the journeys of those around us. In expanding our understanding of this process, we come to see that the distance between who we are and who we want to be is bridged by our daily choices. Each thought, each feeling, each action is a stroke of the painter's brush on the canvas of our lives. As we become more deliberate in our creations, we witness the beauty of our artistry, realizing that the masterpiece we are working on is the story of our very existence.